I just want to thank everybody for tuning in live, listening to replay. This is Trust Christian, Know Nothing, Control Everything. Just want to thank you for tuning in live, listening to replay. Here today, we're actually sitting here with Brent Kessler, the man, the myth, the legend, someone that, all of us have heard quite a bit about, but at the same time, someone that we can learn a lot from and benefit greatly from. So this is going to be short and sweet and direct to the point because this is a teaser for individuals actually coming to the actual asset protection estate planning workshop and training in Atlanta on August 24th. And once again, just building out that relationship, looking forward. So, Brent, how you doing today? Thanks for joining us.
Hey, Christian, thanks for having me, man. Yeah, I'm excited to share.
Awesome, awesome. Well, we're just going to jump straight into it. Just give us a little bit about your background and how you actually found out about the infinite banking concept.
Yeah, no, great. Well, anyway, just to give you kind of the high level, I first heard about the infinite banking concept. I was in a conference. I'm actually a chiropractor. That's my background. I
Okay.
owned some clinics in the Kansas City area. And actually, I was at a chiropractic conference back in 2006, and I heard somebody speaking about this infinite banking concept, becoming your own banker. And I thought to myself, man, that is really, really cool, right? I mean, it really seems good, but however, it just seemed too good to be true. Yeah. I mean, I'm sure you've heard of things like that before where you've watched something, it looks good, but it just seems too good to be true. Well, that was me back in 2006. I heard the information. I went home. I actually did nothing with the information that I heard. I went back to my just to my normal chiropractic life. And then about 2 years later, I go to another chiropractic convention, and about 10 or 12 of my colleagues that were at the previous one are now at this one with me. Now, the only difference between them and me is they actually heard the information at the same time I did, but they implemented it. They started to put this concept to work, and they were just going on and on about how powerful of a tool this was to help you build your financial wealth, keep your financial wealth, and all without changing anything that you're doing in your financial life. It's simply just by adding one additional step. So they were basically throwing up all over me about how this was working in their life, and I wasn't doing it myself. So I thought to myself, there has to be something to this, right? There's no way 10 or 12 of my colleagues are lying to me. Maybe one or two, but not 10 or 12. So I came home to my wife, and it was in February of 2008. And I said, honey, we have to start implementing this concept in our life, right? And it was at that time I was $984,711 in debt. That's what I owed to the third party creditors. Now, at the time I was living in Kansas, I live in Florida now, but at the time I was living in Kansas. And to be almost $1 million in debt and just to live in Kansas, that buys a lot of stuff. I know if you're from California, that buys you a very small house. But if you're from Kansas, in Kansas, it buys you a lot. Well, how was I in that amount of debt, and how did I know how much debt I was in? Well, that was part of the exercise, is that you had to know how much debt you were in. Well, I had my student loans from chiropractic school. I had the house that I lived in. I had my chiropractic clinic. At that time, I had two clinics in 2008. I also had a house on the Lake of the Ozarks between St. Louis and Kansas City. And obviously, Christian, if you have a lake or a house on the lake, you have to have a boat and a wave runner, right? I mean, yeah, man, you can't have a house on the lake without a boat and a wave runner. I'm
Right?
also an airplane pilot. So like as an airplane pilot, I have to have my own airplane. Yeah. So
Yep.
it didn't take me a lot to become almost $1 million in debt. I was able to put this concept into place, and I was able to pay all of that debt off in 39 months, 3 years and 3 months. I never had to work any harder. I didn't have to change my cash flow, take any additional risk, or lose control of my money. I just added one step in my financial life. So then fast forward I really became really passionate about this, and I could see what it was doing for others. So I was telling others about it. So then all of a sudden, one day I was at my okay. So anyway, the guy that got me started in infinite banking, he's passed away now. But and so anyway, he came to me and he says, Brent, he says, I've seen you referred me a total of like 41 infinite banking clients. And I said to him, I said, well, Ray, you've never paid me a dime for any of those clients I referred you. And I kind of laughed about it. And he said, no, no, in all seriousness, he says, you're very good at this. He says, you're teaching this to others. You should consider doing it yourself. And I said, really? How can I do it? And he says, go get licensed and I'll train and teach you. So that's what I did in March of 2012. So here I sit here and talk to you in August of 24. So 12 and a half years later, I've been teaching this concept around the country. I sometimes speak at 50 to 70 live events a year. We're probably doing another 100 to 130 Zoom virtual events, right? So this is what I eat, live, and breathe now. The thing I do when people say, Brent, what do you do? I'm no longer a chiropractor. I am a chiropractor, but I no longer practice chiropractic. I sold my last clinic in 2017. And I've been teaching this since 2012. And now what I do is I just teach is now when someone says, hey, Brent, tell me what you do. My answer is I teach you how to build, keep, and create wealth through your own debts and expenses that you already have. So
Correct.
I'm showing you how to recycle and recapture all that money that has been leaving your family. And the concept that I teach, Christian, the infinite banking concept, it's not a brand new concept. It's not on trial. It's not being tested. It's been around for over 200 years. If you go research people like the Rockefellers, the Rothschilds, the Morgans, the Stanleys, the Barclays. Go out there and look and see how Walt Disney built Disney World, how Ray Kroc funded McDonald's, how Pampered Chef got started before Warren Buffett bought Pampered Chef. This is what the wealthy do. This is what the rich do. So all we're going to do is mimic and imitate what the wealthy are doing. The problem is that the rich are not telling you what they're doing to get rich, right? I
Right.
have uncovered those truths now, and I see how the wealthy really perform and what are their tools that they have in their tool belt. I'm not going to reinvent the wheel. No, no, no. I'm not going to reinvent the wheel. I'm just going to do what they've been doing for over 200 years and build my wealth right along with them.
Yeah, that really pretty much sums it up so well there, Brent, and really appreciate you sharing that word of wisdom. Um, when it comes to the actual workshop, what would you say people should expect to get from you? You know, their mindset and, you know, just kind of like the energy that you would like to receive, you know, coming into the room to really share with people.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you, man, I am going to bring the heat and I'm going to give you guys information that you have probably not heard before. Maybe two or three or four people in the audience have maybe heard something about this, but I'm going to break it down in a very simple, easy to understand way, right? Because the problem is when people try to explain the concept that I'm going to go over, they don't understand it. As a matter of fact, the concept that I'm going to go over and teach, so there's a guy named Robert Kiyosaki, and he wrote a book called Rich Dad, Poor Dad. That's the book he's famous for. But he
Yep.
also wrote another book called Second Chance. This concept that I'm going to teach is in that Robert Kiyosaki book. There's
Okay.
another guy named Tony Robbins. Tony Robbins wrote a book called Money Master the Game. Tony Robbins in that book is a concept that I'm going to teach. But the problem is when you've read those books, they make it too complicated and difficult to understand. So you read right through it and don't understand what's going on, and you just move along before you really grasp the concept. So I am going to show you true life examples of how to recycle, recapture that money, how to turn every liability into an asset, how to turn every depreciating asset into an appreciating asset, As a matter of fact, all right, so one thing that I'm going to show you before I leave there, before my session is over, you are going to see how I paid off $984,711 in debt in 39 months, all by just adding one simple step in my financial life. Keep in mind, I don't want your audience to change anything they're doing. In other words, I don't want you to change your cash flow. I don't want you to work any harder. I don't want you to take any additional risk or lose control of your money. No, no, no. All I'm going to do is show you one step to add. And if you add this step in your financial life, it's going to drastically impact and change your financial life for the better. I'm also going to show you how you can borrow money at a higher rate than what you're earning and make money all day long. And then another thing I'm going to show you is how to get all the money back on all the cars you're going to buy, drive, and own for you and your family for the rest of your life. Now, I know what question comes up when I say that. You say, Brent, tell me, I don't even understand. What does that mean? Get all the money back for my cars. Well, look, Christian, I don't even know the audience, and I'm not going to know the audience when I arrive at the event on Saturday, the 24th. But here's what I know about the audience. I know how they buy cars. They buy cars one of three ways. They either pay cash for the car, they bank finance the car, or they lease the car, right? Because I don't think the audience stole their car, because they're probably a bunch of honest individuals. So however you bought that car, what you had to do is you had to take the money to buy the car. Let's just imagine this is a $20,000 bill and you're going to go buy a $20,000 car. So what you have to do in order to buy that car is you have to give the money to the car dealer. The car dealer gives you the car. The transaction is over and everybody walks home happy. The car dealer has the money and you have the car. Transaction is over, right? That's how we buy cars. But how about if there's a way that you can add one step in your financial life? Now, when you go buy the car, the thing you do is you give the car dealer the $20,000. He gives you the car. So he's got the money, you got the car. But now, by adding that one step, you're able to recycle and recapture and get all the money back for that car you just bought. So not only do you get the car, but you get the money back. And guess what, Christian? If that works for a car, guess what else it works for? Anything, any product or service that you're buying. It can work on a bicycle, a motorcycle, a boat, a house, a vacation. It could work on charitable giving. You could give to charity and get your money back. You could pay your taxes and you can get your money back. It doesn't matter what it is, it's infinite. And that's why they call it the infinite banking concept. Now, keep in mind, everything that I teach you, I have learned through the infinite banking concept and my mentor, R. Nelson Nash. Now, R. Nelson Nash, this is a book that changed my financial life. This is a book that everybody should add to their wealth building library.
Right.
So Nelson Nash passed away a little over 5 years ago in March of 2019 at age 87 years old. That man and his teachings completely changed my financial life. And now I get the opportunity, I get the true joy of being able to share his teachings with others around the country. And that's exactly what I do. And myself and others on my team, this is what we do in our own financial life. So when I'm going to come to you and I'm going to bring you information, it's not something I'm telling you that I'm not doing myself. I'm actively doing this in my own life, and I'll go over that with your audience and show exactly how I'm using. And guess what the best news is of all? I am not coming there to sell anything to anybody. I am not going to ask anybody to buy anything from me. As a matter of fact, if you really, really like what I'm doing, you can't even give me money and buy it from me. You can't do that. You would have to wait at least 60 to 90 days or even longer if you wanted to do, and if you wanted to do what I am going to teach you, right? And even if we do work together, which I have over 13,000 clients in every state of the country, not one of my clients has ever paid me a dime. No client has ever written me, Brent Kessler, or my company, the Money Multiplier, a check for a dime. I'll go through that more in detail. And as a gift, the thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to offer all of your listeners, all of your audience, I'm going to offer them a book that I wrote with a client, now a colleague of mine, Chris Noggle, called Mapping Out the Millionaire Mystery. So all you got to do is send me an email, Brent@themoneymultiplier.com. That's BRENT, the @the moneymultiplier.com. I will send you my ebook. If you really want a hard copy, I think just pay $4 for the postage on it, but you don't need a hard copy. You'll have the ebook. So I'm going to give that away. It's going to be, I'm telling you, Christian, here's what's going to happen. When I am done, okay, talking about this concept, you will have people coming up to you, probably at least half the room, if not more. And they're going to tell you, they're going to say, Christian, thank you for inviting that guy out. That was powerful information.
100%.
I never knew that's the way that money works. So I'm going to teach the audience how money actually works. Now, let me warn you, I am going to make just some people in that audience a little bit uncomfortable. They're going to get a little bit uncomfortable because the things I'm going to go over with them about money, I'm going to challenge the way they've been thought, or the way that they've been taught, and the way that they think about money. Because the stuff that I'm going to go over is outside of the box thinking. It's not what your parents are doing. It's not what your grandparents are doing. It's not what your friends, your colleagues, and your coworkers are doing with money. So you're going to have to keep an open mind. I'm not asking the audience to agree with me. I'm just asking them to keep an open mind. But I am going to bring the heat. You can rest assured on that.
And there you go, ladies and gentlemen. Brent Kessler. Look forward to seeing you all at the workshop August 24th. Brent, thank you so much. Looking forward to connecting with you again. Thank you.
Thank you, man. Looking forward to seeing you.
All righty.